Something we don't have to worry about, though, is Dan Lanning and crew just continuing to kill everyone on the West Coast. USC and UCLA be damned. Dan Lanning don't care. As Dan Lanning once again picks up another commit for the 2020. Well, his first defensive commit, I believe it was, for the 2025 class. Now, in retrospect, I believe there was a 2026 commit who's reclassifying to join in 2025. But this is the first official actual 2025 commit in Matthew Johnson from De La Salle High for edge rusher, 6'5", 260. Already quite a specimen there. I don't know what his actual rating is or anything like that, but if he's from De La Salle,
right,
people were looking at him.
Yeah, I think his rating currently, the last time I saw, it was the 24/7 composite. He was sitting in the 360s, which, you're pretty quick right off the bat to dismiss it. I get it. People can say they don't look at ratings all they want. People look at ratings. Let's be real here. But he's definitely someone who's on the rise currently. Hasn't attended a whole lot of national camps, the Under Armour camps, the 24/7 camps, the Rivals camps, which we all know factor into your recruiting ranking very heavily. But yeah, I think, coming into this fall, he's going to have to put on a little more weight his senior year. You take a look at his tape, and one thing that really sticks out is how strong he is. Being 6'5", 260, he's able to play inside and outside, and he continuously is pushing, the offensive lineman back 3-4 yards, disrupting the pocket, creating the little uncomfortability in the quarterback situation there. But, he's someone I'm very curious about. Like you said, if you're coming out of De La Salle and you're the highest ranked recruit in that high school currently, they're a hotbed for recruiting talent over the last, 10, 15, 20 years. So it's an interesting one for sure. I don't think he's going to be the biggest splash that's going to be made on the defensive side of the ball by any significance, but he's someone who could end up being somebody for Oregon someday soon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying day one he's going to walk it. Now, he still has another year to play, then an off-season training if he comes in early, in the wintertime or whatever. But the point is, Lanning just finished signing day, and he's still like, we ain't done yet. We're looking at next year already. And grabbing guys, especially, again, like De La Salle, very highly recruited high school, very talented players coming out of it. And taking it right out of California from UCLA, USC. Once again, like USC, hey, you wanted to go to the Big Ten. Oh, Oregon came too, and guess what? Oregon's still taking your players.
I mean, he had some, and for being ranked 360, if you really go look at the timeline of his recruitment, he's really someone who's gaining a lot of traction currently. So in the last couple of months, Texas A&M just offered him, like 2 weeks ago or so. Michigan's offered him, Miami's offered him, USC's offered him, Notre Dame's offered him. So it's like there's some big name programs who are garnering some interest. I mean, obviously we know it's not all the offers are created equal. They're not all takes for everybody. I understand that, but at the same time, like you're having some real high quality programs who are looking at this kid that tells you something about him.
And one thing, I mean, of course, look, it's the beginning of 2024, so very early in 2024. He's class of 2025. People always can change their minds. Teams see that all the time. One thing Oregon has not had to deal with, though, is a lot of people flipping from Oregon. Like, when they commit to Oregon, they usually commit to Oregon. They don't end up leaving, like, a week beforehand or signing day flipping from Oregon. Like, they stick with the commitment. That's kind of a unique
one is Dante Moore is the most notable one, and take a look at what uniform he's wearing next year. It's like that's a very valid point.
He came back home. He realized, like, okay.
Yeah, he had to get out of that dumpster fire that is UCLA.
And I still think there was so many aspects to that of UCLA going to Big Ten. So he's like, maybe my NIL can go up. Of course, the Chip Kelly influence. Can't blame a kid for that. I think there was some other factors also went into it, but then saw the writing on the wall later and went, okay, yeah, no, yeah, maybe I was wrong. I wasn't ready to start, and kind of humbled himself a little bit as a player, which is hard to do when you're a quarterback, especially. You're supposed to be the guy that leads the charge and all that stuff. But I mean, we'll see. What is up with your caps lock, Mark? I can tell you're in shift, but
yeah, it was Kenny D gets all the credit. Yeah, I don't know. And Dan Lanning, he came on. He had an interview within the last week and a half or so with some of the Oregon radio guys, and he was talking about the significance of Dante Moore. And one thing he had said that he's like, Dante's always been interested in Oregon. It's never not that he was never interested. I think there were some other factors pulling him the other direction. In my opinion, it was probably the opportunity to start right away. Obviously heading to the Big Ten, knowing that Oregon was going to be at the time stuck in the Pac-12 with that burning ship. But now, like you said, he gets the opportunity to go play in his home state of Michigan. He gets the opportunity to be in one of the two premier conferences in the nation. He gets the opportunity potentially next year to have the keys to one of the highest firing offenses in the country. So everything he wants is right in front of him.
Yeah, I do think the starting right away thing was a big one because, of course, he was going to sit behind Nix no matter what. But now coming here, knowing that he is going to sit behind Gabriel, I mean, I think that's pretty much. I don't even think that's up for debate. He's going to sit behind Gabriel, and he's already said that's fine. Like he's okay with that because he came after Gabriel committed, so he already knew he was going to sit behind him probably. So,
yeah, and I mean it's no secret. I think he understands that he needs some more development to turn into. If he wants to be a day one pick someday, he's going to need to develop, and I don't think UCLA and kind of the direction their program was heading was the place to do it. Like you said, I think it was 100% the aspect of one, going to the Big Ten, and two, you were able to start right away potentially. It would be a lot easier to beat out Ethan Garbers than it would be Bo Nix, who was coming back, and was already considered a round 3, round 4 pick last year. Obviously bumped his draft stock a little bit again this year. We saw what he was able to do.
Yeah, which we'll have to see where the draft stock goes because everyone, of course, has their opinions and et cetera, et cetera. And obviously, that always falls the team needs. A team might really want him, but go, well, we don't really need a quarterback. We need a tackle instead. I mean, so it's not like, oh, he's not good enough to be a first rounder. It's just team needs. I mean,
100%.
But yeah, it's just exciting to see Lanning and them and Lupoy especially and all them just still attacking hard, especially again high profile schools that teams like USC, UCLA, and others are, like you listed, Texas A&M and Notre Dame are looking at, and Oregon's coming out on top.